Hey, it's been so long since I've seen you all. Thank you for coming in. We just had a little bit of communication we had to get through, and so we jumped on a minute or two late here. But I'm going to be thank you all for the different shows. They've been fantastic today. Probably between the shows at Peaks, we probably had 1,200 people on and lots of great questions. I want you guys to keep it up, man. 3 in a row, as we all know from sports. So anyway, Jeff Weber's going to be coming on here in a minute. I'll bring him on. I'll bring him on stage. But I wanted to, thank everybody for coming in. Keep up the support. We need your support. Subscribe and like the videos. Jeff Weber is, we do a lot of different topics here. Like we earlier was on Creighton, a supplement, and we talked a little bit of comparison between, in another show, we compared, wow, you just jumped off, you little sucker. All right. Anyway, we compared Islam to other religions. And by the way, it's really important if we can get more and more discussion on the myths and the unknowns and so forth. Anybody wants to talk about that religion, there's so many questions, so much we don't know because we're humans and God is God, right? So let's bring down the heaviness. And let's go ahead and bring on Jeff Weber. He's got a very interesting, very fascinating investment strategy, that works with the algorithms. I mean, that's what's running the world these days. So without any further ado, I'm gonna bring on Jeff here. Let me click the button. Jeff, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Rod. Thank you for having me on your show.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Love. I'm very interested in the subject. We have different topics, as you know, that we do
right.
are based on either the concern or the interest of the great middle class. A lot of people in there, very powerful group. But we gotta talk together about different things that are available to us, because the world's going to be moving faster and faster. When people remember in the 80s, right? When the internet and the mobile phone came on, people at that time who were my age then, they went into a depression. There was a big separation of society with older people because they didn't know these things and they're afraid of these things. Just think what's going to happen with AI coming aboard.
Oh yeah.
So that's a big lead up, but I'm really interested in hearing how you came up with this. The $12 million is a very interesting thought process.
Okay, thank you. I discovered a book by Robert Lucillo in the 1970s when I was in college, and he taught what he calls the AIM investing method, stands for Automatic Investment Management. It's a simple algorithm, and it has the startling concept that you don't hear much in investing anymore of contrary investing. Because if you think about it, how can you make a profit on anything unless you sell it at a higher price than you bought it at? Okay.
Well, isn't there a short part of the investment world where they bet on you to lose, or am I misunderstanding what you're saying?
There is shorting, but I was trying to come up with a method that would work easily for the average small guy who needs a side hustle in these tough economic times.
Ah, I get it. Okay, perfect. Go ahead. Sorry.
That's how simple it is. Every major stock has an option. Okay. Now, the ones I use are called leaps, which means it's a very simple term for an option that has more than 1 year before it expires, and it expires the third Friday in January. There's about 450 of them. They're on the big boys that we all know: Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, Tesla. Okay, so what I found from a lot of research was that there's two great features about options that stocks don't have. The two features are leverage and volatility. What does that mean? Leverage is this. You have to buy a contract when you buy options. 100 options equals one contract. So let's say
we were talking about on a similar show to yours, a guy by the name of Mike Polonic, that we were talking about that exact thing. And please, we're all new to this that are listening, so we want to learn about this well. So okay. Go ahead.
Okay, so by leverage, I mean, you might look at, say, Apple, and you would see Apple, just for example, is $100 a share. If you wanted to buy 100 shares, it would cost you $10,000. You could look in the option table, option chain as they call it, and you would find an option at the same price that the stock is selling at. That's called at the money. And you would find you could buy one option for $25, which means in essence, you would buy a contract for $25,000, but the stock would cost you $100,000 if you wanted to buy the same thing. So right off the bat, you're getting a 4-time better bargain, kind of deflation when you look at the stock prices. And stocks are one of the few areas that has deflation, believe me. Okay. Now, the reason investing at all works is because the stock market can be viewed as one gigantic roller coaster. It goes up and it goes down. The secret is, what do you do when the market goes up, when it goes down, and when it's going sideways? What is the secret? Well, most people fail as investors because they don't know that. They cannot figure out, they buy something, they're very eager to buy something, and then when they buy it, it's like they, bought a wild snake and they don't know how to catch it or something, So the beauty of AIM is it sets up exactly when you buy, when you sell, and when you do nothing. And
does it matter? Does it matter what stocks you're looking at when you say that algorithm tells you about when to buy, when to sell, and when to hold?
Well, there's many tools for that. What I use now, I just came up with my new tool for my investors. I rank 195 leaps from cheapest to most expensive. Okay, so here's an example. You might look at a leap, and here's the key. You want to buy at or near the 52-week low for the leap. So
it makes sense.
There's a ton of information you can find on the leap very quickly for free at Yahoo Finance, for example. I'd be happy to walk anybody through how to look up a leap on Yahoo Finance. But
what is Yahoo Finance? Is that a website serving the community?
By the Yahoo Corporation, and it has detailed information on every stock and option.
Oh, I'd never even heard of that before. Not that I am an expert in this field at all, but I never heard of that.
It's absolutely free, and if I can use it, anyone can use it, because like you said, I'm one of those tech dummies you've heard so much about. I'm an anti-nerd, I guess, because I have a hard time with computers because I didn't start on them until I was in my 50s.
We are everywhere, my friend. We're all over the place. These technology.
I'll give you a quick example of how AIM would work. Let's say I like Apple, we'll say. I would look and see the 52-week high on the stock, let's say, is 200. The 52-week low is 125. and it's selling at 130, let's say right now. I would say it's attractive because the stock is at or near its 52-week low. Then I would go to the Yahoo Finance option chain, and I would look, and I'd say, since the stock is selling at 130, I want to buy it slightly in the money. And all that means is I'm buying a strike price that's lower than the stock price. So if the stock is 130 and I buy the strike 100 option, I'm buying $30 of equity in that option. Plus I have to pay something for the time privilege of being able to do it for roughly the next 2 years. Then then following Lucillo's guidance, I set up a one-page, 8.5 by 11 spreadsheet with 13 columns, and all you do is every month you compare two numbers. It's so simple.
Hold on. What is Coachillo's? Is that what you said?
There's
terms.
Lucillo's.
And what is that?
That is his algorithm that he put in a book called How to Make $1 Million Automatically.
Gotcha.
So here's in essence how it works and why you're always buying low and selling high, which is the key to investing. Let's say you buy a leap at $100. Let's say you spend $50,000 on leaps. You set up a control number called portfolio control. It's equal to 50,000. So you have 50,000 leaps that you originally bought, 50,000 in cash. You check it. I check them every day because they're so volatile. Let's say, what I have discovered is this. They're so volatile. What I'm going to do, if you buy it at $100, I'm going to set your next buy to be 75% of your original purchase price. So if you bought 20 contracts at $100, I'm going to set up a row of 13 columns, and it will tell me I want to buy, say, 3 or 4 more contracts if the price goes to 75. Okay? And I do the same thing on the sell side. I found from experience with the sell side, you want to raise the price at least 35%. So if you bought it at 100, you're going to leave a sell at the bottom at 135. And that again might be 2 contracts because it's a little more expensive.
Strategy.
Right.
Good strategy. How long does all that take? What's the, I'll let you get back, but are you talking about, you said you do it every day. You do it every day for an hour or for, a couple of minutes, or, you got to update back and forth off the spreadsheet, right?
Yeah, no, for the average investor, all they need to do is check it once a day, and it would take maybe 10 or 15 minutes. Now I'm helping multiple people, so it takes me a little longer, but I can still do about 100 spreadsheets that I'm checking for in about an hour, hour and a half.
100 different ones?
100 different ones.
Wow, then it's fairly straightforward.
That's how I made 12 million for people.
Yeah.
I had one guy, to give you an example, he bought Apple Leaps in January 2020. His portfolio total of cash and the value of the Leaps started at 125,000. 8 months later, it was 386,000.
3 months.
3 months, 8 months from January.
Even still, geez.
Well, I had another guy who had colon cancer, so I really felt good. I helped him. He started with 550,000 in January 2020. By the end of 2020, he had 1,750,000 for a $1.25 million profit.
Those are big percentages.
Yeah,
returns, gains.
Because leaps are incredibly volatile. I'll tell you one, story about how investing will ruin everybody's life. Emotional investing will ruin your life. I had a guy.
I can see that.
This is ironical and it's sad and funny at the same time. This guy Jay lived in Albany, New York, and he has a PhD in psychology, and he's a therapist. Okay, keep that in mind. Okay, he was the most neurotic investor I ever met in my life. He lived and died every day with the stock market, failing to realize that it's a long-term journey. It's not a 10-foot journey. Well,
compare attaching that what you said earlier, it's a roller coaster, but it's going like this, right?
Right. It's constantly going
up and up.
It's going higher constantly. So Jay was helping his girlfriend too. Okay. Well, at one point, the Dow Jones went down 1,000 points in one day. It can do that every now and then.
It does.
He panicked without calling me, and I had previously made him $500,000 in profits during the bull phase of the market that ended, finally after 9 years. And without telling me, he sold everything. His girlfriend had bought a bunch of Facebook at the time, now Meta, at $20 an option. It had gone down from $20 an option to $2 an option.
Ooh.
Okay. Now, because of my bear buy strategy on that, she still had money to buy. I sent him an email and said, buy her 20 more contracts at $2 a contract, $2 an option. Well, he disregarded that totally, and he sold everything. So she had started with 59
at $2.
At $2, right? So she had started at 59,000. When he got done with massacring her portfolio, she got back 19,000 on the Facebook. Well, I save all the old spreadsheets. Who knows? I'm a fanatic for documentation and stuff. I just happened to accidentally stumble across her Facebook spreadsheet a year later. The option was still open because, like I said, they last for 2 years.
Right.
I looked at it. Her option had gone from $2 to $72 an option on Facebook. If he had just stupidly done nothing, ignored it, forgotten about it, she would have gone from 19,000 to 386,000 just on Facebook. Yeah. So that is what they're capable of. I have many stories like that where, stocks or options went way, way down, and then they came back because you have plenty of time. And all
they also do, that happens when they do a sell-off, right? To take profits out. So it always happens to some degree.
Exactly. And
yeah.
People don't realize that. I love to tell people, I said, you've got to take the long-term view. I said, go back to the financial meltdown of 2009 and 10. Remember that?
Oh, my
God.
God.
Brothers went under, blah, blah. The Dow Jones went from 13,000 to 6,500 in March 2009. What is it now? 16 years later from 2009, I think.
15 yet? 14 something?
Okay. How about the Dow has gone from 6,500 to over 40,000?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what
long-term bullish, yeah. If you take the attitude. So I only do my AIM investing method with calls that go, when the stock goes up, a call goes up. Now you can play the reverse if you're, that type of person, and you can do it with puts too. And then if a stock goes down, the put goes up. But I don't like that because I take the long-term view. It's better. There's much better trading, and you can have continuity. And to give you an idea of the continuity of why you'd like to do AIM for extended period of time.
Yeah, I was just going to ask that. This is a strategy to where according to these algorithms and according to your details, your history, your numbers, what the biggest part of the strategy is knowing when you're down to, I forgot the number you said, like 10% of its low for the year, and you buy then. Do you hold these stocks, the other ones that you already bought low? You know, let's say it's Apple. Do you do that again, or
Well, here's what I do.
Bringing money in and out of the stock?
No, you want to be in the market at all times because you can't outsmart the market.
Yeah, no, I get that, but staying in the market, you're not buying a stock that's near its low for the year, to sell it a little bit later. You're talking about keeping this stock.
Well, it's going to be the leap, not the stock.
I'm sorry. I told you I'm just a guy out here.
Oh, that's okay. So but here's my trick. Okay, and why would I want to do that? I'll give you an idea. You give me your email. I'll be happy to send you my newsletter, which I published for 32 years, and you can see.
Hey, you know what? We always get questions after. I'm gonna while you're talking, I'm gonna put my company email in the thing, so you and anybody else, because I always get these questions about, like, I had one talking about AI and one about crypto. Well, I brought on guests, including my son, that are experts at that. And if you send a question in, a couple of days later, I may not be the expert on that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put my email in here because it's a really valuable thing. Go ahead. I'm going to step off stage while I'm doing this so you can talk.
Okay. I'll keep talking because I think I'm on the air.
I'm sorry. Did you misunderstand? Yeah. So I'm going to step off the stage because I'm going to be staring, down here. I'm going to step off. I can still hear you and everything, but I'm going to just put in my email address. It'll just be you on stage. And
Do you want me to talk? Or?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Here's the simple way AIM would work. Let's say you bought the 100,000 worth of leaps and you had 100,000 cash, and your portfolio control number would also be 100,000. Let's say it goes up to 150,000. You compare the value of your leaps to the value of portfolio control, and you say which one is higher. You would see the leap value is 150,000 and the portfolio control is only 100,000. So you would put 150,000 on top, subtract 100,000 from it, and you would see AIM wants you to sell 50,000 worth of leaps. It's intensity driven. If it had been 170,000, AIM would have wanted you to sell 170,000. And then Lucillo put in a very clever twist that he calls safe, which is always 10% of the value of your leap. So here's the way that would work. You would say 150,000 minus 100,000, I have sell advice of 50,000. But before advice becomes a market order, you would subtract the safe amount, which would be 17,000, 1/10 of 170,000. So you would go 50,000 minus 17,000. You'd be selling 33,000 worth of leaps and changing paper profits into real profits, which is the secret of life, is real profits, not paper profits.
Absolutely. By the way, sorry, I was off longer than I expected. I got a couple of dogs here, and every once in a while they like to get involved.
I have one too.
And she knocked the girl knocked. She's either right outside the studio doors, like she is now, or she sneaks in here and tries to get underneath. You know how dogs do that,
right?
She freaking. Luckily, I removed me from the stage because she she knocked the camera off the thing. So I was like, oh crap. But fortunately, you guys didn't know that. So
Right.
go ahead, this is fascinating, man.
Okay, right. And now regular AIM takes a little more money the way Mr. Lucillo did it. And
What's the safe? What's the safe you were talking about?
The safe is 10% of the leaps value. So like I said, if you always compare the value of the leaps, and I'm doing it on a daily basis for my clients, because you never know when you're going to get that magic moment and get a sell. I would say at least 50 times I have seen a leap go up at least 50% or more in one day.
I was just going to ask you, when do you check? I mean, because there's
I check at the
volatility within the volatility, obviously.
Right. So I always check right towards the end of the day, which my time is 4 o'clock, I think, or the 3 o'clock.
You're in
3 o'clock.
Where are you located again?
Yeah. So it closes. I'm in Central Time. I'm in San Antonio, Texas. So
so am I.
At 3 o'clock my time, 4 o'clock Eastern Time.
Right.
And so by doing that, and I tell people, you don't have to check all day long, because you have a limit order, which means the broker will automatically execute your order to buy or sell
if it hits this number.
If it's that thing for even a second, But that's why
that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah.
And that's why I tell people, but it doesn't do you any good to have the buy or sell if you don't immediately act on it. And what you need to do is change the numbers so you have the new buy and sell for the next day. Because anytime you have a buy or sell, the new buy and sells will be different. Both change. And it's a simple formula. If you've made a buy, your next buy is going to be lower and your next sell is going to be lower. If you made a sell, your next buy is going to be higher and your next sell is going to be higher. You keep to the rule of 25% lower for every new buy and 35-40% higher for every new sell. That works very effectively. Now I'll talk about, I found a way to help people who have very little money, because that's a common curse in modern times. Okay. So give you an idea. If you wanted to do Microsoft or Apple with regular AIM, I would suggest and tell you it's almost mandatory to do it with at least 15 contracts. Now, that gets a little expensive, because you want to have, if you're doing regular AIM, you want to have the 100%, protection of 50% cash and 50% leaps. So off the top of my head, probably a good Apple or Microsoft portfolio would cost you around $150,000 to $200,000. Okay, give you an idea. So a lot of people don't have that. Me too. Okay, so here's what I came up with. I call it lean AIM. It's the simplest way to invest you've ever heard of. And I'll give you the perfect example. I had a guy who liked Tesla in the old days when it was quite expensive. Well, I told him, you can buy one contract on Tesla for $5,000. Okay? Then what do? As soon as you buy it, you immediately set up a limit sell at 25% higher. So that worked out to be $6,500.
Okay, gotcha.
He made that sell a month later. I have over here with lean AIM, I have roughly 800 spreadsheets for the 30 people I've been helping with lean AIM for the last year and a half. And there's probably $500,000-$600,000 in profits just on those, apart from the regular AIM profits. So anybody. And
Interesting, man.
The very first, get this, the very first sell was a guy accidentally bought one contract on something for $200. So it was a $2, option. We put it in that day, and we put in a limit sell at 250. That's 25% higher. He got the sell the next day. I viewed that as a good omen.
Wow. Yeah, no doubt. Absolutely.
So I could start anybody with even $1,000 or less. I can find something.
So do you have people online? I mean, you said you're teaching people this process, this program. How does that work? What does that look like?
Oh, it works in two ways. People can hire me for AIM management, and then they can call me, and it's much easier to learn AIM when you got skin in the game, as I say, and you're actually doing AIM. And then as different buy sells come up on your options, I can talk people through and explain, here's why we're doing this because of AIM. Now, I'm a glutton for punishment. I do all this as a one-man band. I have technical help from my buddy, Brett in California. He puts the newsletter together, makes it look beautiful. He does all the techie stuff. He runs our Get Response team, etc. I do all the investing and all of that. And what I've done to help people is twofold. I'm coming out with a new service where I'm going to, on a weekly basis, I'm going to list 10 or so very cheap leaps if people are looking to add to their collection, or especially for people who are, looking to do lean AIM. So they'll have several cheap ones in there that I like. And I'll give them the essential information. They will see the strike price I like. They will see what the price of the option is now, and they can compare that to the 52-week low and high of the option. And again, they're always welcome to call me and talk about anything, when they get it. And then once a month, I'm going to do a master list of all leaps, the 195 that I like, and that'll give people a little fuller list to choose from. And that'll remove the big bugaboo of, investing, because people just don't understand what are good leaps, and I can tell them.
So this is like a weekly program, what you're doing with I mean, it's not just that you're doing, but you're meeting with people like that, or
right?
How does that go?
With people almost on a daily basis. And what I love it when my clients call me up and say, Jeff, I had a buy or sell. Then I take down, I bought 4 contracts on Soxel at, $8.20. That's all I need. Then I update. I always have an admin row on my spreadsheet. I can send you, if you give me your email, I'll send you a few examples and it'll make more sense.
If you look there in the text, you've got that there. I put that out there. So
I've got your email.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. See it there, rod.duff@me.com.
Okay.
So I would absolutely, I did a typo though. I put a space in there.
You should be doing this. Let me tell you. It's
yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
also, I'll give you another person. Have you ever seen any of the shows with producer Barbie on there?
With who?
A co-host of mine that comes into the shows sometimes and co-hosts with me. She used to do a lot. She's out in California now. That's where we're from.
Okay.
And she's very interested in the stuff. There'll be more than one people that get that information if it's okay with you, besides myself.
I give away a free book. I'll give her a copy of my newsletter. I even wrote an unpublished book with 50 AIM tips that I give away. And to try and make a little money, being the filthy capitalist I am,
Hey, you got to keep the lights
a
on, man.
9-hour course on AIM investing that's very sophisticated and professionally done with my partner, and that's $495 for people who can't get
Per
enough
year?
of the face and voice.
Is that a revolving year kind of thing, or is that one time and you go on forever?
Yeah, they get to use it any way they want to. They can share the course with their family and friends, pass it on. It's theirs forever. And I even offer 100% money back guarantee on my course. How can you beat that? You know, I think I'm reasonably priced for what I offer. And I think my fees are very moderate for my AIM management skills, you know, and what I do for people. And I can,
I mean, that whole amount is just a one-time payment, and your
one-time payment. And I'll even let them make three partial payments if they want, if they want to do that way. But, I try to make a few bucks because I do have some expenses, it costs me a bunch to protect my website from hacks and attacks and other things, and we have to pay for the.
I know that feeling.
You know what it's like to run a business. You get a few expenses out there, So, and you should get a little profit for your work. I mean, whatever. And what I tell people is it's so simple. And to give you an example of how simple it is, the guy with the colon cancer, who I helped make the $1,250,000, he was kind of an experienced investor, but he'd never really done much with options or AIM ever. I helped him for 6 months, and then he felt capable of doing it himself. So he managed the whole portfolio himself from July through December, and he wound up with $1,250,000. And he was smart. He took $200,000 of that profit and had himself built a custom house in Mexico. For
I love that image. I love that image. That makes me feel all warm and cuddly inside.
He got sick of wet and cold Portland, from what I understand. From him.
Chicago, man. Chicago.
Ramsey, New Jersey. I left there quick. As I always tell my friends, the East is the least, the West is the best.
Yeah, no doubt. There's no doubt about that. Florida's not bad too, but so yeah, send me this information. You got my email there, and I'm gonna. Do you have any closing thoughts? Did you get what you need?
Yes,
because this is the closing. Go ahead. Sorry. No, go ahead.
Closing thought is this. I think it's very important for parents to pass on information like my AIM investing method to their children who are going to have an even tougher time in economic times. Believe me, and when I tell, I try and tell them desperately, I said, artificial intelligence or a robot may replace your kids in their jobs someday, but it will never replace AIM investing, which will go on and on.
Yeah.
I mean, the secret in life is you're not going to make, I used to tell people, you'd never make money from a bank by putting it in the savings account. You will make money from a bank by buying their options and trading them.
Oh, that's interesting. That's a good twist.
And I used to tell people, I'd say, the reason I love AIM is you make profits quickly and you can immediately compound them back. Like with my friend who bought he sold the Leap, he bought it 5,000 on Tesla for 6,500. Now we had 6,500 we could invest in the next lean AIM. And that grows quickly. If you.
Oh man, it compounds on itself, right?
In the early days. And I found from experience, the ideal time frame I have found for AIM is 15 years. I took a stock because I couldn't find leap prices going back 15 years. Because I wanted to illustrate, and you'll see that in my book. Go to the very end of my book when you get it, the free book. I guarantee you will buy low, sell high, and make money. And you will see I have 5 years of Croc's stock in there. The stock started with 5,000 shares, maybe 350 shares, and 5,000 cash. In 5 years, it grew from 10,000 to 350,000.
Damn, well, that's some big numbers.
Good, but it gets better. Many years later, I got curious and I said, I wonder if Croc Shoes still even exists, many years later. So I feverishly looked up 15 years, another 10 years worth of the prices on at the beginning of every month, just arbitrarily once a month. And I found over the next 10 years, Crocs grew from 350,000 to 1,750,000.
They're all the rage.
The same thing with AMD, Advanced Micro Devices. It only grew from 10,000 to 350,000 in 15 years. I could live on that, So
yeah, absolutely. That's some amazing thoughts to put in somebody's head when they're walking away from a very solid, valuable investment property. And I really want to appreciate you, show appreciation. This was very informative. We should do it. We should do a follow-up, because these are the topics that everybody needs to have. I mean, we're not getting any younger, and
inflation isn't getting cheaper.
Yeah, and things are only getting more expensive. I really appreciate it, Jeff. Have a great night. Go out and smile to somebody or wave their hand.
All my stuff, and let's do it again. I love you. You can't get rid of me if you like me. Believe me.
You got it, my friend. Thank you.
Enjoy doing this. Yeah. This is why I retired from the day job. I used to work for the Army, by the way.
Hey, thank you for your service, man.
A combination of 2 years. I'm a Vietnam vet. They got me during the Vietnam War, and they drafted me in 1970. And luckily, they sent me to Germany, not Vietnam. It was winding down in Vietnam. But I can tell you it was just as dangerous in Germany, because half of my unit was convicted felons. The Army wasn't too particular back then who they took.
Yeah, that's true.
And we had all sorts of incidents, almost uprisings, among the troops. So, and then I went to work for them as a civilian for the most of that time. But if you count my grandfather, get this, my grandfather started his Army career with the 7th Cavalry escorting wagon trains on the Oregon Trail. And that's where he met my grandmother when he was 17 and she was 16.
That's fabulous. I tell a story about my great aunt who lived to be 104. She came across the West in a covered wagon. Before she died, she saw one of the first space shuttles go up.
Oh, wow.
Jeff, it's been amazing. I really appreciate it. Wave to everybody. What's that?
I said I appreciate it too.
You bet, my friend. Have a great evening. I'm going to take care of some other business, put you back in the green room, so to speak, the green room. I like to think we're a little bigger than we are. We aren't. And I'm going to close out. If you want to listen in, enjoy. So there we have it, my friends. It's interesting that this technology of today is able to bring, I mean, he and I would have never been able to cross over and have this conversation. And, it's become extremely important to me, just a personal, he talks about a mission that, this is what he does, after he retired from the Army, this is his reason for being on this place, in this place on this earth. So, this is only going to get more information and more information to everybody at a faster and faster pace. I've got to go see some customers tomorrow, be out basically all day. And then I'm going to have another show, and that'll be on Thursday. We've got a couple of shows next week. So keep coming back. There's a lot of information, and you don't want to be lost in the world as it moves. Like I always like to say, the Jetsons are coming. This whole thing, AI, crypto, these different algorithm. I'm not saying that right, but algorithms that make things happen depending on trends. He's got a great point, Jeff does, that you've got to be aware of that, and you've got to see those trends, and he's got an excellent way of putting it together. With that, everybody, hey, as I always say, I love you guys. Thanks a lot. Appreciate the support. We had people jumping in and off on this one today. And again, this is my website over here. Not my website, my email. Any questions that come up afterwards, I'm going to start announcing this every time, because I'm getting questions like a couple days later, and I don't want to lose the ability to give them the information they're looking for. Like somebody was talking about, they had some cash and they had some crypto in a crypto wallet, and there's this thing, a digital wallet. I still haven't quite got that all together yet, but anyway, he had a question about that. So it was hard, going back and forth. When it comes on email, I can send it to people directly who will have your information and are able to answer your questions. Well, it's been a long day. My goodness. Third show today, and without too many mishaps. There were a couple bumps here or there, but I'm going to go pay attention to my dogs, because they get jealous if I spend too much time away, and they want their attention too. Again, there's my email address. My channel is on YouTube at Rod Duff 1939. Rod, RODD, Duff, DUFF 1939. Come on, subscribe. Let's keep this community growing, and let's keep the as Jeff said, we need more information, and it's important, because aging middle class isn't quite shouldn't be, because they grew up in a different era. But here's a place you can get caught up, informed, ask questions. We aren't talking heads on a news channel. We don't just talk about highlights. We sit there and go, and what I try to do is bring the information, because I don't know anything. I know what the very simplest point of any of these more complex conversation, because it's me. I go after the simplest point. So I've been on, I don't know, 4 hours today, something like that. And I have thoroughly enjoyed myself. You guys have been great all day long. And Jeff, thanks a lot. Good luck. Contact me, reach out, send me the book. I'll send it to producer Barbie as well, and we'll go from there. With that, I'm Rod Duff from Insights in Straight Talk, with producer Barbie, but I think she was in the show in the audience today. She watched the earlier ones, but she's got her grandbaby, So I love you all. Wave to somebody. I like to say this, and I'm going to keep repeating it, because I don't know, it sounds cool anyway. Make it a mission to, when you're entering a space, wherever you're going to, work, you're going to a friend, whatever, wherever you're going, make the vibe better than before you got there. It's just make let's try and bring things up a little bit, because we've been stuck in COVID stuff and lies from government officials and them putting us all in boxes. But at the end of the day, here's the thing I always lean back on. I don't care what, if you're, let's take the 1% out, the elites out. They don't live in reality. I mean, God bless them. That'd be great. But they don't live in reality. So at the end of the day, what you want to do is you want to be able to communicate with each other, because let's take 5 houses down the road. One of them's a white family, one of them's a mixed race family, one of them's a Hispanic family, one of them's we talked about Islam earlier today as an Islam family. All different backgrounds, all different interests, big interests. But at the end of the day, if these each 4 family of 4s or 5 family of 4s on that block, at the end of the day, they have the same issues, and they have the same concerns, and they have the same needs. And that's where we start from our, if you're 2 totally different people, you got somewhere to be common on. So I'll leave it at that. I tend to linger on, but it's just fun. I'm really enjoying doing this, everybody. We're up to almost 5,000 subscribers now. I think it's like 4660 or something like that. Anyway, subscribe. Jeff, why don't you subscribe? And we will talk at you later, guys. Bye for now. Love you.